Now, another
Yeah.
device that's likely to be coming potentially this month, actually, is the Oneplus Note 2. So, the OnePlus Note initial, the first version, I mean, it was a very popular device, especially in Europe. And we had the OnePlus Note CE, right? Which kind of threw things a little off because it was just like, okay, where does this device sit? So, it's kind of like underneath the Note, like it's, so it's kind of like a, think of it as an iPhone SE, so then they're calling it the Note CE. But now we've got, some solid leaks around the Note 2. So on 91 Mobiles, we've got leaker on leaks. So Steve, he's very accurate when it comes to his renders, and we've got some 5K renders of the OnePlus Note 2. Now, first impression straight away from these renders, it looks a lot like the OnePlus 9 and the 9 Pro. So it's in the same theme, right? So we've got this rectangular camera module rather than the inline camera module, should we say, the traffic light style. So this is more of a rectangular camera module. Again, we've got the punch out in the corner. I can see a single punch out in this corner rather than a pill shape, which we've had on the Note 1. I'm talking about some of the specifications. These are very interesting because based on this report here, the expected specifications, we're looking at a 6.43-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display with a 90Hz refresh rate, okay? 12 gigabytes of RAM, up to 256 gigabytes of storage. But here's something that's very interesting, Ian. I think you're going to be very interested in this. The MediaTek Dimensity 1200 SoC. Now that's a pretty powerful chipset, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's quite interesting to see that they're also going with this. Kind of leads us back to this. We had this discussion a couple of episodes or a few episodes back where we said, where we talked about the fact that MediaTek is now the leading mobile chip supplier right now in the market. So,
yep, I do remember that.
Yeah, MediaTek's everywhere.
MediaTek is really taking over. So MediaTek, I mean, the Dimensity 1200 is a very capable chipset. In terms of the camera arrangement, it looks like we've got a 50 megapixel primary camera, an 8 megapixel secondary lens, which of course is likely to be an ultra wide. Then we've got a 2 megapixel sensor. Of course, OnePlus love to put their 2 megapixel sensors. Maybe this is going to be a black and white sensor. Maybe it's going to be one of those 2 megapixel macro sensors, which we did have on the first Note.
It's going to be macro.
Okay, should we put some money at it? What is it going to be? Macro or
yeah, it's going to be macro.
32 megapixel front-facing camera, a 4,500 milliamp hour battery with 30 or 65 watt charging support. Right now, of course, it's could include 5G. And it's going to be coming with Android 11, according to this report. Now, the pricing is an interesting thing here, okay? Because the pricing on 91 Mobiles, being an Indian website, I believe, the pricing is in rupees. So it's around 30,000 rupees. Now, I've gone ahead and done some conversions for you guys, so we know what that kind of means. So that's around $400 or around £300. However, one thing you have to keep in mind is that this is obviously just a direct conversion based on this rumored pricing, and India pricing is always cheaper, right? So what OnePlus does, which I think is very smart, is they manufacture a lot of their devices in India, which actually makes them bypass a lot of the taxes, as far as I'm aware, right? Which means that in a very competitive market, especially in that sort of mid-range area, you can come in very, very competitive, because if you look at even the OnePlus 9 and the 9 Pro, they were actually significantly cheaper in India compared to the UK and the US. So that's quite interesting. And now if it does come in at a competitive price point, because remember, this £300 to £400 price bracket has become very competitive recently. We've had some really good devices, the Poco F3, we've had the Realme GT, which has the 888, and it came in at around that £400 mark as well. So yeah, it's looking was at I think it was the introductory was €369, which again is very, very competitive. So I mean, the Nord 1 was a device that I really liked, and for what it was offering, bang for buck, was one of the best devices out there. The Nord 2 looks also very promising based on these leaks. What do you think, E?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I got a lot of interest last year, especially doing some of my gaming videos, and I like to see that with the Dimensity on this device. OnePlus really does a good job in that segment for gaming, for a lot of people. So I would like to see what the Nord does, and I would like to see that. I really want OnePlus to open the Nord to all markets because now that they pushed the main OnePlus line, whether the OnePlus 9, the 10s, even the 9T, which we'll probably have later on, to a little bit higher tier. That mid-range market that they used to own is slowly going to other people. So it would be nice to see that open up in all parts or all regions where people can go, okay, I still got a OnePlus. I get that, never settle feel, even though they don't call it that anymore.
Yeah, so this is the thing. I mean, it had that flagship killer vibe, and that's how OnePlus really started, right? With that flagship killer vibe. Yeah. Now, when you look at the OnePlus 9 Pro, I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, it's nowhere near a flagship killer because it's priced pretty much, at the same sort of level as some of these flagship devices. So it's not necessarily a flagship killer. Some areas where it does fall behind on, such as the front-facing camera, which is just 1080p, etc. Compared to a lot of the others, it's kind of like, you can't. It's nowhere a flagship killer what it used to be, right? And some of these compromises, you let them go for those because of the price that they would come in at. But the Nord really seems to be like taking that place for OnePlus, right? That is still offering some, flagship features or, getting there, such as the, 90 hertz display, etc. But it's coming in at something that's very affordable. So, yeah, I mean, the Nord series is usually quite fun. And, after the Nord CE, which I don't think was received massively well, it'll be interesting to see what the Nord... yeah, I'm being nice. But yeah, the Nord 2, I think, will hopefully be much more successful. I hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to hear the full podcast episode, then that will be linked down below. And if you want to see more clips like this, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss them. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf Speaks, and I'll see you next time.